Julius Malema made a speech against what he believed is oppression and capitalism, imperialism if you prefer, and he's not afraid. You'll find in life people that are very vocal, but Julius Malema kind of vocal is very scarce. This is a very interesting speech he made, and I think you need to watch this. Let's go.
Deputy Speaker.
Oh, what's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping. You are appreciated. My name is Zack. You want to know about the continent? You're at the right place. Hey, watch this video till the end. Surely we're going to see you tomorrow again. There is no doubt about that. Let's go.
On the 20th of September 2001, former President of United States of America, George Bush, declared what became known as the War on Terror on Iraq and Afghanistan, stating that, I quote, "It will not end until every terrorist group of global reach has been found, stopped, and defeated." What followed was a massive disinformation campaign to justify the 2003 invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan under the pretext of locating and destroying weapons of mass destruction. Decades later, no such weapons were ever found. This invasion was about minerals and oil reserves, not weapons of mass destruction. Iraq and Afghanistan have never recovered. Cuba, Libya, Venezuela, and Chile are examples of nations that have suffered from US interventions because of their socialist policies, justified by false intelligence to advance imperialism. Cuba has endured decades of sanctions for nationalization of strategic sectors of the economy, supporting African liberation and socialism, while Libya was destroyed because Gaddafi rejected US dominance. We raise these historical facts because history must guide us in everything we do.
Okay, let's stop right there. He just mentioned a few things about history, and he says history should guide us. He said the United States of America always start with a campaign of disinformation before they invade the country. They said in Libya that the Libyan president was unaliving his own people, therefore we need to save him.
The United States and the world faced a choice. Gaddafi declared he would show no mercy to his own people. He compared them to rats and threatened to go door to door to inflict punishment. It was not in our national interest to let that happen. I refused to let that happen.
And after that, they took Gaddafi, they unalived him. Why did they unalive him? Many people believe it's because Gaddafi had an idea of opening up the mind of Africans. He wanted Africa to have its own currency based on dollars. America didn't want that. Should have that happened, the dollar's value would have just collapsed. And they had to take him out and not show or teach through his courage any other African nation to be independent. He's also reminding people here that George Bush's campaign was to say to the world that Saddam Hussein was holding weapons of mass destruction. Therefore, we need to take him out. We can't keep him like this.
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously. I remember the fact that he has invaded 2 countries before.
But even after the war, there was never ever was found weapons of mass destruction. But what was found was gold being taken. Look at this picture. So weapon of mass destruction were not found, but gold was found. Where's the gold? Question mark. Let's continue.
When Donald Trump declares that, I open quote, "bad things are happening in South Africa," without evidence, we must not assume that the USA is misinformed. Instead, we must question the real intention behind such statement. After Trump's remarks, the US froze foreign aid globally under the pretext of assessing alignment with the policy outlook. For South Africa, this meant PEPFAR funding of HIV/AIDS response was under threat. On 26 February 2025, the freeze became permanent, terminating funding indefinitely. The US aggression towards South Africa is nothing more than Israel's revenge for our moral stance in support of Palestine. Meanwhile, some of us have been labeled international criminals, a designation used before the West assassinates those who opposed its agenda.
Okay, so let's stop right there. First, he says that, this is nice, right? We together, we need to understand, because I know there's a lot of English happening here, and not everybody masters it. As much as you master it, you need to think about our brothers who are not necessarily all that, and everybody must understand. So what he's trying to say here is what? He says they accuse South Africa of genociding white people, meaning they're unaliving white people in South Africa. And he said, let's not believe that America is misinformed, because that's what President Cyril Ramaphosa said. Donald Trump is misinformed because he believes America is the best, or the best security or information intelligence agency in the world. You can't lie to America. They know everything. You think America don't know that white people in South Africa are not genocide? I mean, if there were genocide, there certainly would be military and intervention. It has not happened. He says the reason why America cut aid to South Africa, suspending PEPFAR, which is a program that helps people living with HIV acquire medication and get services. Let me remind you here, South Africa is the highest number of people living with HIV in the world, with more than 8 million people who have been tested. Okay, we're not talking about the ones that are not tested. South Africa is about 60 million people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. The demographics obviously need to be rechecked. So he's saying, let's not lie to each other about that. The reason why they stopped the aid is not because there's genocide. The reason why they stopped the aid to South Africa is because South Africa took the country you don't name. You know the country you don't name? Unfortunately, you can't name them. If you name them, your video is shadow banned. I'm sorry. You slow it down. I don't know how, but that's how we get across. So the reason why South Africa is subjected now to the sanctions and all that stuff, it's not because they're misinformed. America cannot be misinformed. They know there's no genocide. It's because we took them to court, and they're very good friends of America, especially the Conservative Party. That is why they're making us pay. Let's go.
As always, fabricates human rights violation to justify intervention. Today, same tactics are being used against South Africa. The growing calls by right-wing groups for foreign funding to establish independent states and to be armed by foreign interests must be recognized as part of a broader plan. This is the early stage of economic isolation, leading ultimately to military intervention. Next, AGOA will be terminated, escalating tensions between USA and South Africa. Our government must dismiss opportunistic African and racist groups exploiting US imperialism to fund their racist fantasies of an independent state. That will never happen. We will expropriate land without compensation.
So in South Africa, there's a land named Orania. It's a city where there's only white people, exclusive. You must be white, you must be Christian, you must speak Afrikaans to be accepted in those. Yeah, black people have no access. They have their own currency. Okay, they use their own money, their own system. It's literally a different place in South Africa. He says that idea of having a different country within a country cannot be accepted. America is working hard for this information with the goals of finally cutting off AGOA, cutting off trade, isolating South Africa. Then later on, bringing in an intervention. That's what Malema says.
Whether they like it or not, if they object, they can seek refuge in America. Deputy Speaker, Trump and the USA are not demonstrating strength. The USA is merely displaying an advanced stage of capitalism, which is imperialism. Trump engages in transactional and manipulative relationships with the world like it is his backyard. The hostility towards South Africa does not come from fraudulent boers spreading disinformation, but from America's imperialist agenda. The USA, home of the world's most sophisticated intelligence agencies, agencies that fabricate evidence to justify the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq, and orchestrated the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi, Patrice Lumumba, Martin Luther King Jr., and Malcolm X, cannot now claim to be victims of disinformation from a minor racist group based in Orania. The USA has openly embraced the golden age of imperialism, extending its power through threats and the prevention and termination of foreign aid. In response, our government foolishly seeks to explain our policies to a maniacal president as if the USA were a victim of misinformation. The USA knows exactly what it's doing and why it is doing it. At a Goldman Sachs event of the 27th of February 2025, South Africa President Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa stated, I quote, Trump got the wrong end of the stick of the country's land policies. I completely reject this notion. The USA, home of Elon Musk's platform, X platform, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Tesla, Starlink, and Silicon Valley, the global hub of data collection, cannot claim to be misinformed. They are the greatest perpetrators of disinformation. The USA is the greatest perpetrator of disinformation. It is now using its own falsehood as justification to attack South Africa.
Wow.
This government refused to acknowledge the real issues. We are being punished for supporting Palestine against apartheid Israel.
Wow.
Nothing else. The USA does not believe there is a white genocide or land grabs in South Africa. These lies are useful tools to justify economic aggression and seek to weaken our moral authority to condemn Israel's genocide.
Wow.
Foreign aid
Okay. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about his rhetoric? Okay, let me just remind you here that Julius Malema has said things in the past that doesn't sound good at all, okay? A lot of white people especially don't like him because he said something along the lines of singing a song named Kill the Bull. Listen to this.
To kill, come on, sir. Kiss the bull, the farmer. Kiss the bull, the farmer.
That song clearly was a mess within the other atmosphere. Look at some commentators in America how they spoke about him.
No, the left's been telling me that only white people can be racist, but damn, I guess it depends on what country you're in. I just saw a video of a stadium full of black South Africans chanting, "Kill the boar." First I thought it was a hunting song, like "Kill the wild hog, he got some meat on him." Turns out it means kill the white South African.
So a lot of people don't like him because of that. Because the song says kill the bull. Does it sound good? No, it doesn't sound good at all. Does it sound racist? Yes, it does sound very racist. Kill the farmer. Why would you say kill the farmer? Malema's explanation was that that sound is a struggle song. It's a cultural song that they sang during the struggle when there was under apartheid. But the song has nothing to do with asking people to go kill people physically. So it's just a song with the goal of reminding them where they've come from, but it is not inciting people to go kill white people. Was he taken to court for that? Yes, he was taken to court, accused of inciting people to go kill farmers. But what happened to the court case? They let him free because the court, for some reason, with all the detail and the data they have, that was a great opportunity to arrest him. They didn't arrest him because they found him not guilty.
My Lord, as a younger generation in the struggle, we sing the songs those who came before us sang to put ourselves in the position they were before. And like we said, our songs are not in any way meant to engage in any literal engagement.
Now, does that still sound right? No, the sound doesn't sound right. But is it political? It's probably political because has anybody used that song to unalive the farmers? Question mark. We don't know. Are massive amounts of people going to unalive white farmers because of that song? Question mark. We need to investigate that. That's not even... Okay. Question mark. However, Julius Malema said something that sounds really, really bad. It is bad. It sounds bad saying kill the bulls. Let's just shift the history part of it. It doesn't sound good if you don't understand the context. However, does that mean every single thing that he says is absolutely wrong? No. Because people will sometimes use that part to discredit every little thing he said. Is that fair? I don't think so. As much as I personally do not agree with people singing that song, doesn't matter the context, I don't also believe that just that one thing should erase every little single thing a person. I mean, it's like your father is a drunkard, he's an alcoholic. Just because he's an alcoholic doesn't mean every single other thing he says is wrong. I don't know. He could be an alcoholic with his own problems. That's a problem of an alcoholic. But when he says to you, you need to study and go to school, does that mean he's wrong? When he says to you, you need to get in the house because it's about to rain, doesn't mean he's wrong just because he's an alcoholic. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about this. Let's go.
Foreign aid has always been a tool for Western imperialism and control. It must end with South Africa. We must expand our trade and strengthen relationship with China, India, Russia, Brazil, and Singapore while emphasizing African unity. The USA is on a full mission to extort the world into submission and as a result will become increasingly isolated. Our sovereignty, security, and economic prosperity on rejecting the American Golden Age, a project of imperialism. The world must move forward without the USA if true progress is to be achieved. We are not the puppets of the USA. We will never be bullied by Donald Trump and his friends. South Africa remains an independent state, which is not handled by the USA. The majority of South Africans love their whites. They worship them everywhere they go. Why will they kill them? They always seek white validation and affirmation of whiteness.
Okay, listen, this is very true. This is very true. Remember, there was now let me not get into that. It's going to be mayhem. Yes, black South Africans love white South Africans. Let's yeah. Let me just continue. They make the potatoes, the tomatoes, they create the jobs in South Africa. The majority of big jobs are owned by white South Africans. And you may find it unfortunate on your side because I know a lot of Africans are hustlers. South African black people are not necessarily hustlers like that. South Africans like going to a job, getting a salary at the end of the month, and looking after family. That's stability for him. For you, perhaps in different countries, you like having your own hustle, your own little thing somewhere, make your own money. So because somebody provides for you, you tend to like him. So black South Africans do like white South Africans. But you get a sense that they oppose those who want to dominate, those who want to rule and continue, perpetuate the apartheid regime.
Whiteness. It is a black talent. It is a black talent. It is not a black talent until white people say so. If it is a black skill or innovation, it is not until white say so. If it is black quality product, it will have to pass many hands before they endorse this product. Any political party without white endorsement will never receive any electoral support and financial support until white establishment says so. Like the Cuban people will never give up on our freedom against American imperialism. We must unashamedly continue to stand with Palestine and Russia. We are product of international solidarity. We are Palestinians and they are Africans. We will die shoulder by shoulder with Palestinian people. We will be buried next to their graves because no amount of American bullying and financial dictatorship will separate us. Not even death will succeed. From the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. We are not product of land theft or genocide. We are not grabbing any land, but claiming what rightfully belongs to us. We are not engaged in what genocide. Instead, we are coexisting with our white murderers. Whatever it takes, this land shall be expropriated and will be returned to its rightful owners. Victory is certain. Hasta la victoria siempre.
Coexisting with our white murderers. Crazy stuff. All right. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It was a great pleasure. God bless.